4, 3, 2, 1.
Studio Classroom is Please stand by. Studio Classroom is on the air.
Well, hey, welcome to Studio Classroom on the air. We're so glad that you could join us today as we continue a lesson about some pretty amazing animals. My name is Gabe.
And I'm Anne-Marie. Let's see how much you can remember from yesterday. What animals are we talking about? It's a kind of a horse that starts with M.
Well, friends, I hope that you said Mustangs. All right, here's question number 2. Where do they live? Okay, here's a hint. Very far east in the United States.
Friends, I hope you said in the Outer Banks in Corolla, North Carolina. And finally, where are these Mustangs from? Here's your last hint. Not from North America.
All right, well, if you said Spain, you were paying attention yesterday.
Or they have their magazines open because it's all right there in the title. The Spanish Mustangs of North Carolina.
Right, of course. Well, let's find out more about these wild horses as well as some things to keep in mind if you ever have the chance to visit the Outer Banks. Friends, today is a great day to learn something new.
So let's do that together.
The Spanish Mustangs of North Carolina. The Mustangs divide themselves into small groups that consist of one stallion and several mares. The groups wander freely along the coast through fields, forests, and people's yards. They eat coarse grass, nuts, and other native plants. Visitors and locals alike enjoy watching these marvelous animals. But they must stay at least 15 meters away. It is also against the law to feed the horses. In 1989, the Corolla Wild Horse Fund, CWHF, was formed. It now protects the herd from a distance.
Hello everyone, welcome to Language Lab. I'm Jack. 今天要看的第一个字是形容词 coarse。coarse 的意思是粗糙的，例如 walking barefoot on this coarse sand hurts my feet. 赤脚走在粗糙的沙子上，让我的脚很痛。或是 the coarse fabric rubbed against her leg and caused it to bleed. 这块粗糙的布料磨到她的腿都流血了。Coarse 也指粗俗或是粗鲁的，譬如说 Tim's language is so coarse that most girls don't like to be around him. Tim 说话很粗俗，大多数女生都不喜欢跟他在一起。接着来看 herd 这个字 ，herd 是一个量词，用在4只脚的群居动物上，譬如 a herd of sheep 一群羊。我们来看例句 When we lived in the country, we often saw herds of deer running through our fields. 我们住在乡下时，经常看到成群的鹿通过我们的牧场。或是 It was amazing to see a herd of elephants cross the road in front of us. 看着一群大象在我们眼前横越马路，好壮观。Herd 也可以当作动词，是赶成一群或是移动的意思。例如 The teacher herded her students into their classroom after recess. 下课时间过后，老师把学生成群地赶进教室里。Okay, let's get back to our teachers.
Well, thank you very much, Jack. Let's continue with our lesson today. We're learning about these beautiful Mustangs. The Mustangs divide themselves into small groups that consist of one stallion and several mares. Now, there are many horse-related terms that we could talk about here at Studio Classroom. We don't have time to go over every term there is. But you see the word stallion here. That is a male horse, especially a male who is still able to have children or baby horses. Mare is a female horse. Can you think of some other horse-related terms?
Yeah, well, there's colt and filly.
Oh.
And that's for like a baby horse, right?
Exactly. Okay, so a baby male is a colt.
Yeah.
And especially a female would be called a filly. Filly is not a word that I had heard too much. I always just thought all baby horses were called colts. Yeah. But are there other terms? Because Anne-Marie, yesterday you said that you used to work on a farm or with your grandfather?
Well, yeah, my grandpa had horses when I was growing up. So I was around horses a little bit for a few years when I was younger. I guess a lot of horse-related terms that I know have to do with the gear that you use or the tack that you use for the horse.
Okay, so the things that you use, like the saddle, ma'an, that you sit on, you put it on the horse and you sit on the saddle, and I guess there are many parts to the saddle as well.
The place where you put your feet on the saddle, we call those stirrups.
Okay, stirrups.
And then we have the bridle, which, as you can see, we've turned our donkey friend here into a horse.
That's right.
We have tied his ears up so that he is correct.
It's not what you normally have to do with a horse. This is not normal horse gear.
No, it's not.
But is there something else that you put like inside of a horse's mouth?
Yeah, the bit.
It's called a bit?
It's so that you can help the horse know which direction to go when you're riding.
All right. Well, friends, those are just some horse terms you might want to remember for the next time you go to a horse farm. The saddle, the stirrups, bridle, the bit. Okay, and we just learned about stallions, and these groups have one stallion and several mares. You know, we also wanted to talk about something here, and that's the phrase to divide into. In Chinese, it could be two things. It could be 除, that's a math term, 除语, right? Or here, I think it's more like 分, so they're going to divide or split up into smaller groups. That means when you form two or more smaller groups from one larger one.
And a way that I've heard this used before is with food. A lot of times. Maybe your mom will divide up portions of a cake. That way everybody can have a piece. That's kind of more of the math idea. But maybe when you can't measure it, it also works in that way as well.
Or maybe, have you ever been in a classroom and your teacher doesn't tell anybody which groups they're supposed to be assigned to? They just say, okay, you need to divide into groups right now.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Divide into groups of 2 or 3 or 4 people or something like that. Friends, think of another way to use that phrase.
Let's read on here. The groups wander freely along the coast through fields, forests, and people's yards. People's yards?
That sounds fun, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be fun to live in one of those houses and have these beautiful horses?
Just look out your window and all of a sudden there's a horse standing in your front yard. Can you imagine that, friends?
Oh, that would be amazing. I know there are places further south, like in Florida, where they see not horses in their yards, but alligators or crocodiles. I would much rather see a horse walk through my yard.
That is a great point. Let's read on here. We read, they eat coarse grass, nuts, and other native plants. Visitors and locals alike enjoy watching these marvelous animals.
That's right. These really are marvelous animals. At the beginning of that sentence, you read visitors and locals. The locals refer to the people that live there. You could also use the word local in the previous sentence when talking about native plants. We could say they are local plants. But we read on here, but they, that is, people, must stay at least 15 meters away. It is also against the law to feed the horses. If something is against the law, first of all, that's a great phrase for you to know. This means something is illegal.
That's right, and it is illegal or against the law in some places to turn left on some roads. We can use this with traffic laws or really any kind of laws as well.
That's right. So what are the laws of the country that you want to visit? You want to know what those are so you don't do anything against the law when you are driving. Well, we read on, in 1989, the Kerala Wild Horse Fund, that is CWHF, was formed. It now protects the herd from a distance.
So right now, friends, I think it is a great time to learn even more horse-related phrases. So let's go to our info cloud. Hi,
Hey friends, welcome to InfoCloud. We are so glad you're here with us again today.
So Andrea, I'm a bit frustrated today. I'm trying to help a friend improve his English for the TOEIC test. I give him many resources and even offered to tutor him, but he doesn't seem to be interested in anything I say.
Oh, Rex, that is tough. Well, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Andrea, I don't want to lead a horse anywhere. I just want to help my friend.
No, Rex, this is an expression or an idiom in English. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
So what does that mean?
Basically, you can give a person an opportunity like you gave your friend, but you can't force them to take it.
I see. Yes, that's exactly what is happening with my friend.
Well, it's great to give people opportunities and try to help them, but they still need to take action on their own. Just like a horse needs to take water on its own. So it's true, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
今天跟大家介绍一个非常耐人寻味的英文谚语 You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. 这句话字面上的意思是你可以牵一匹马到河边，但你没有办法逼它喝水。如果你想要帮助一个人，给他机会，但是他自己却不把握，自己放弃了，这个时候你就可以感叹地说一句 You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. 这句谚语是在表达机会是要靠当事人去把握的，如果他自我放弃，或是根本对你的帮助没有太大的兴趣，其实你一点办法也没有，因为每个人都必须自己把握机会，自己下决定要付出努力，追求成功。这就是今天的 InfoCloud， 我们下次云端见。
Studio Classroom is on the air.
Welcome back to Studio Classroom. So here's a little quiz for you. Which word or phrase that we discussed earlier means illegal? If it's not legal to do something, it's...
Against the law.
Bingo.
It's against the law to feed the Spanish Mustangs of North Carolina.
So what about riding them? I think it'd be fun to hop on one of those stallions and go galloping along the beach.
Gabe, no, that's obviously against the law. You have to keep 15 meters away.
Right. Well, there's something else important that we need to learn about these marvelous creatures. Let's do that now. The Spanish Mustangs of North Carolina. They keep the horses safe and limit direct human involvement. If a life-threatening problem occurs, the CWHF moves the horse to its farm for care. The horse can never return to the herd, though. There is a real fear that germs from the farm could spread to the herd. Instead, the horse retires to a life of ease on the farm. The CWHF's goal is to help the Mustangs live wild and free on the beaches of Corolla.
"好，我们再来看名词 involvement。involvement 的意思是参与或摄入，比如说。John insisted his involvement in community organizations had nothing to do with politics. John 坚持说他参与社区的组织与政治无关。或者 The police questioned Bobby about his involvement in the robbery of the jewelry store. 警察盘问 Bobby 关于参与珠宝店的抢劫的事。再看一个例句。Usually, parental involvement is welcomed by schools. 学校通常很欢迎家长的参与。最后我们来看的字是名词 germ， 意思是病菌或是细菌。例如 Always cover your mouth when you sneeze so you don't spread germs to others. 打喷嚏的时候务必捂着嘴巴，免得把细菌传染给别人。或是 I don't like to take my daughter to the doctor's office during flu season because of all the germs there. 流感期间，我不喜欢带女儿去医生的办公室，因为那里到处都有细菌。Germ 也有发源或萌芽的意思，例如Their discussion produced the germ of an idea that was developed into a new beauty product. 他们的讨论所衍生出来的点子，后来被开发成一个新的美容产品。Okay, let's get back to our teachers.
Well, thank you very much, Jack. Friends, let's continue learning about how we can do our part in keeping the horses safe when we visit Corolla, North Carolina, okay? And we're learning especially about what the Corolla Wild Horse Fund does. We read here, they keep the horses safe and limit direct human involvement. So you just learned about that word involvement in the language lab. What does it mean, Anne-Marie, if you limit human involvement?
Well, that would mean that humans wouldn't be able to touch the horses or come into contact with them, or really affect their lives in any way.
In any way, right? Earlier we read that we have to keep a safe distance, right? We have to stay 15 meters away. So they really are doing their best to protect these horses. We read, if a life-threatening problem occurs, the CWHF moves the horse to its farm for care. Well, let's take a look at the idea of something being life-threatening. Okay, this means that it's putting someone or something in danger. The word threatening in Chinese, you might say 威胁, so it's life-threatening.
Now, usually we use the word life-threatening to refer to an accident or a disease. Maybe a car accident could be life-threatening, or if you get sick, you could ask someone, oh, is it life-threatening? That's kind of like saying, is it serious?
That's right. That's a great point. That's a great question for you to know, friends. You know someone who has a disease or was in an accident. Was it life-threatening? Have you ever known anybody who got into a life-threatening accident, like a car accident?
Yeah, actually last summer, my brother got into a life-threatening car accident.
Oh my goodness.
He veered off the road and hit a tree, and he had to be life-flighted.
Life-flighted?
Yeah, that means that they had to actually take him up and fly him somewhere.
With a helicopter?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Is he okay now?
He is okay now. Yes.
Oh, okay. That is.
He's doing really, really well, actually.
Pretty intense story. I'm glad he's doing well, but I guess in the moment it was life-threatening.
It
right?
was. That's correct.
Well, friends, you got to be careful when you are driving for sure. But we read on, the horse can never return to the herd, though. There is a real fear that germs from the farm could spread to the herd. So the idea of something spreading is that it's only in one place at first, but after a while it starts getting out to other places.
We read on here, instead, the horse retires to a life of ease on the farm. That sounds pretty nice. A life of ease. What does that mean?
Yeah, a life of ease. This just means that your life has no big problems or troubles, nothing big or stressful that you have to deal with.
Some people I know dream of a life of ease. Some people really enjoy working. I think it kind of depends on your personality and your goals in life.
That's true. Would you like to have a life of ease, Anne-Marie?
I don't think I would like it. I enjoy getting things done and accomplishing things.
Yeah.
A life of ease might be nice for a week-long vacation.
Okay.
After that, I don't think I would enjoy it
Or maybe
very much.
several decades from now when you're retired, right?
Right, just like these horses who retire to a life of ease on the farm.
Exactly. Some people use this phrase when they are retired. They're retired, they're not working anymore, now they have a life of ease. Well, anyway, we continue. The CWHF's goal is to help the Mustangs live wild and free on the beaches of Corolla. I don't know about you, Anne-Marie. I would just love to get out there on the beach and roll around in the sand with this stallion.
That would be a lot of fun.
Mustang.
Yes. Well, right now, friends, it is time to go to our All About and learn something new.
I'm so excited. I'm going to LA next month. And I've got tickets to watch my first NBA game.
That's awesome. Who's playing?
the Lakers and the Rockets. I'm a huge Lakers fan. I followed them for 15 years.
You're going to have a great time. The live experience is much more fun than watching the game on TV.
Other than great ball playing, what else will I experience?
The halftime show, of course. Each NBA team has a professional dance group that performs during halftime. The dancers are top-notch, and it's a thrilling experience.
That sounds fun. Will I see the team mascot too?
Yes, the team's mascot always appears in the halftime show.
Do you have any tips for enjoying a live game?
Make sure to grab some stadium food, such as hot dogs, pretzels, or nachos. And make sure you arrive at least 45 minutes before the game so you won't be in a rush.
Okay, noted. Thanks for the tips. I'll let you know how it goes.
Live experience. Live experience. Halftime show. Halftime show. Top notch. Top notch. Stadium food. Stadium food.
Mascot. Mascot.
All right. Well, Gabe, I have a question for you.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever attend any of your high school's basketball games?
Actually, yeah, I was even in some basketball games,
Oh.
even though I wasn't that great of a player. But this is interesting. My high school's team, sports teams, were the Mustangs. We were the Mustangs.
Oh, that was the mascot. So that was what represented your school.
Exactly.
Oh, very interesting.
Speaking of mascots, you know, sometimes a school will have kind of a costume that someone can wear of the thing that represents their school. And I dressed up as the Mustang sometimes at basketball games.
So you wore a Mustang costume.
Yeah, it looked like a Mustang. It had a big horse head. I remember one time, because we played against the TAS Tigers, and one time some of the students from TAS came over and turned my Mustang head around and started punching the back of the Mustang head right where my face is.
You probably couldn't see anything.
I couldn't see, and I really wish I was thinking faster because I would have acted along and started, you know, flailing on the ground and something like that.
So what did you do?
Well, eventually one of my teachers came over, turned the Mustang head around and looked into it and said, "Gabe, are you okay? What's going on in there?" He told them to back off. But anyway, yes, that was a pretty fun experience. And
Sounds like it.
We were the Mustangs. But friends, you know, our lesson mentions that it's against the law to feed horses. And there's actually been a push in recent years not to feed any wildlife. There are many reasons for that. What is one reason?
Well, let's name some of the wildlife we're talking about first, because I know it is very common for families to go maybe to the park and feed ducks or feed fish, but people food really isn't good for animals. Can you imagine if you're a fish and usually you're used to eating smaller fish or bugs, but you're being continually fed French fries and popcorn?
And things like that.
It wouldn't be good for your stomach.
Exactly. That's just one reason, friends. There are many more you can look up. But that's all the time we have for today. We'll see you next time right here on
Studio Classroom.
Last a lifetime. I am so proud to have you in my life. A good friend lasts a lifetime.